Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty, and we're about to review the first of two Joker comic books I'm going to do this today. That's right, it's a Joker-palooza. Not entirely sure why. I figured it'd be a Suicide Squad thing, but don't get me wrong, we are going to squeeze Suicide Squad into our Joker-themed reviews. But first off, we're doing the Puzzlebox by Matthew Rosenberg, a name which struck a chord. I knew I'd read something by them, but honestly, I can't remember what it is, and I could have just done a wiki search, but I was actually thinking quite a lot about this comic book. I'm really hoping I can get all my thoughts into 5 minutes, so let's crack straight on. First off, multiple artists on this title, and sometimes it can be a little bit off-putting, like a little bit jarring, but it works quite nicely. They have one of the artists, I don't know which one does which, so I can't really comment, who does a lot of the police scene kind of stuff, like the interrogation, which is a lot more realistic, has a lot more detail, feels a lot grittier as a result of it, and leans really nicely into it. The other artist does some classic Batman hijinks and fisticuffs, and also the Riddler off doing an investigation in some forgotten tomb. And his art style is varied enough that those two things feel completely distinct from each other, and also the style really adds to it. There is just some excellent bits of detail where it's needed, and then the interplay of light and shadow to give the impression of detail at times where it's not as necessary, but it's nice to have it. All in all, very good looking comic book. The actual writing of the story is probably the most important bit of this, though. First off, the story is pretty cool. I actually like the idea that we're dealing with an unreliable narrator in the shape of the Joker, trying to figure out what exactly has happened because the Riddler apparently has been murdered. Don't believe that for a second. And the story is then told in different parts by an unreliable narrator, out of order, which gives great opportunities for flashbacks, flash forwards, foreshadowing, and the fact that when you're told something, you don't necessarily have to believe it because there's going to be a different viewpoint later on, which might put it in context. As an example, the unreliable narrator Joker, when he's pulled in for questioning after like 12 different Batman villains are all at the same location, he claims it was just because he was throwing a surprise birthday party for him, which is interrupted by the Batman. The Batman, by the way, called Edward, that's his real name. It'd be really nice if you didn't tell everyone about it. And Hatch has no problem with Joker, gets on quite well. And it's all just part of this ridiculous facade that he's put up, and he's fantastic. The idea that he knows Batman's first name is interesting enough, like the fact that he went for Edward, but he spends the rest of the comic book referring to everyone by their first names. Which is a really nice little power play thing because nobody can call the Joker his first name. Nobody knows what it is, not even Batman. But weirdly, they then have the Riddler actually lay that out, that that's what he's doing. Possibly the only bit of writing that really bothered me. Everything else is kind of cool and in character, and adds to the story in some way. In character for the Joker, by the way, is brilliant. As somebody who knows a little bit more about comics than I do once said, Joker is more just as likely to trip you up as you're walking down the street as shoot your grandmother in the face, because you find them both equally funny. And it is all about the humor. So he is having a laugh. He's lying to the police officers about this thing, and he's throwing other criminals under the bus, but he's doing it with a smile on his face, and he's clearly enjoying the hell out of himself, making jokes at everyone else's expense. But the best writing goes to Gordon. They give him this kind of world-weary cop look. This is where he's still commissioner, so it's set at an indeterminate point within the storyline of Batman, but with various multiverses and restarting. Who knows exactly when? Barbara Gordon's still there kicking ass. At the same time, apparently, Punchlines are around, and he's still hanging out with Hartley, who was with Poison Ivy. So it's, I don't know if this is a deliberate choice or they've, just haven't bothered paying attention and just chucked a load of stuff in that they like and can claim that surely at some point in the Batman continuity that makes sense. But Gordon, his grizzled cop thing is actually done really effectively. He, at one point when he's been called in because of the murder, a detective apologizes for bringing him in early, and I'm forgetting the exact line, but it's like, the other side of 4 a.m. is early. What this is late. And it's like, yeah, that is just a really nice line. There's a few dotted around the comic book. It's not just Gordon who gets them. The Riddler also has an awful lot of fun, basically figuring out what's going on, cracking his riddle, and basically enjoying the fact that lesser minds than him are trying to figure it out, getting it wrong and dying, because that simply just proves that he's smarter than them. All in all, wonderful little individual character studies of pretty much everyone except Batman, who doesn't get a look in at all. The only time you get any reference to Batman at all is the Joker telling you about him. Everything else is just absolutely nailed it, like to perfection, really. I can't really think of much of a criticism for it. Even the pacing is brilliant. Because it is like a broken narrative, it gives a perfect opportunity for them to build up suspense, because they're not telling you exactly what's going on in the right order. You are left to your own devices to put these pieces together and try and work out what's going on. The ending is then a thing that happens. I was about to tell you what it was, realize I'm way over my time, and it's better if I leave it. So if you are reading it, look forward to the ending. It's a lot of fun. I'm going to come back later on with the Suicide Squad gets Joker. Until then, look after each other. Everyone. Stay safe. Bye.